Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at question 210, course schedule 2. The way we'll be solving this problem is by using two data structures. We'll use one of the data structures to keep a track of the number of courses that a course needs before they can take that course. And for a given course, how many courses actually depend on that. So if we create these two data structures, it becomes a lot easier to solve the problem. So let's get started with that, and then we'll understand the solution as we continue coding it. So to keep a track of the number of courses, let's just create an int array, and let's call it number of dependent courses. Okay, so new int, and then the number will be new courses. Awesome. So, and we also need a list of lists. You could use other data structures as well to store this. We could possibly use a hash map, but just for simplicity, let's just use a list of lists. And let's call it dependent courses. Dependent courses, new array list. Great. I think that makes sense. Awesome. So before we start populating these two data structures, we actually need to add new array list to the list of lists. So let's do that. I++. Yeah, we have a for loop here. So dependent courses dot add new array list. Okay, awesome. Number of dependent courses. Yes. Okay, so we have that ready to go. Since we have our data structures that are in place, let's actually start populating them. So for int, we actually have to iterate through the collection that's given to us, which is the prerequisites. And since it is an array of arrays, let's try to pull out each of the arrays. So prerequisites. Okay, so for every single, actually let's name it to prerequisite. All right, so let's get int course, right? It would be prerequisite of 0, and then we get int pre-course would be prerequisite of 1, right? Okay. So once we have this, let's just clean this up so that it looks nice. Okay, awesome. Once we have that, we get the dependent courses. Dependent courses dot get. So for this pre-course, right? For this course, which are the courses that actually depend on that? So for this course, the pre-course, this course is actually depend on it. Okay, I feel like I'm saying course a lot. So what we're trying to do in this data structure is that, for example, if we look at example 2, we have 1, 0, 2, 0. So instead of storing it this way, what we're trying to do is we're actually doing it this way. So for 0, we have 1 and 2. So basically what we're trying to say is that, okay, for the course, so course 1 and 2 depend on course 0. And then 1 depends on, so 3 depends on 1, and then 2 depends on, no, 3 also depends on 2. So basically what this gives us is that it tells us you need to take this prerequisite to take 1 and 2. You need to take 1 before you can take 3. You need to take 2 before you can take 3. So I'll tell you how it becomes easier for us to solve it when you store it that way. Let's just keep it here in the comments so that we can walk through an example if needed later. Okay, so we have that, and then we have number of dependent courses, as in basically how many courses do you need as a prereq. So this will be course would be equal to plus plus. Actually, I think a number of prereq courses. Actually, I misnamed it. Prereq courses. Okay. So what are we saying here? We are doing two things here. We are adding all of the courses that depend on a given course, and then we're saying for a given course, how many courses does it need to take previously to be able to take that course? Why is it glitching? It's not used. I think maybe I didn't paste it right. Why is this? Cannot find symbol number of prereqs. I think it should correct itself in some time. Okay, once we have that, we have populated like the data structure that we need to actually solve the problem. The next thing we need is actually a queue. Linked list, right? And we also need a couple of other things. What do we need? We actually need the array that we'll be returning. So let's initialize that. What's the size? We need number of courses to be the size. Okay. We also need an index. Let's call it current index that keeps a track of the index where we're placing the courses in the resulting array. And the other thing that we need, what do we need after this? I think there's one more. Yes. So we need a for loop that goes through all of this, and I'll tell you in a second why we need that. So it's basically, let's copy over this for loop. So what we're trying to do is we're iterating through all of the courses, and if number of prereq courses of I equals 0. So what are we doing here? So we're checking in the number of prereq courses that are needed if any of them are equal to 0, which means that if it is equal to 0, that given course does not need any prereqs to take that course. It doesn't need any prerequisites to take that course. So those are the courses that we'll be adding to the resulting array first. So q.offer I. So basically what we're starting off with is the courses that do not need any prereqs. So once we have a queue, it becomes pretty simple, right? You keep looping through that till the loop isn't empty, right? So what do we do in the while loop? We obviously pop in the queue. So current course equals to queue.remove, I think it is. Yeah, okay. And then we add that to the resulting array, and then current index equals, oh, sorry, no, current index, right, is equal to current course, and then you increment current current index. Okay. Awesome. What do we do now? So basically, we're saying, hey, once you're adding it to the resulting array right here, that means by definition, we've already taken that course, right? So if you've taken that course, we no longer need to count it as a prereq. So what you need to do is for int I in dependent courses dot get current course, we do number of prereqs of I minus minus. So what are we doing in this for loop? We are saying, hey, the number for, since we have already taken this course, since we have added it to the resulting list, get all of the courses that depend on that course, right? So we are getting all of that. And since we've already taken that, the number of courses that we need to take now is reduced by 1, right? So you subtract that, and then you check if number of prereq courses for that course that we just subtracted, if it is equal to 0, that means you no longer have any remaining prerequisites to take that course. So, so if it is equal to 0, you actually offer that to the queue. So that is the next course that we'll be looking at. So it will be I. Awesome. So this while loop will keep continuing till it is empty. But there are some cases in which, like for example, there's like some sort of a circular dependency that doesn't really work. So if that happens, you want to make sure that you return an empty um, array. So how do you check that? So you check that by seeing if the current index is actually equal to the number of courses. So current index, if it is not equal to number of courses, you just return, like, let's initialize that as like a new array and just return it as a new int, and then like let's put size 0 and just return it. So you might be thinking, all right, so why number of courses, right? It should have technically been, so the current index, so the number of indexes that it should occupy is number of courses minus 1. But because it's in a while loop, it does increment it by +1. So it will add the last course that we care about, and it will still increment it by 1. So that's the reason why we actually check it with the number of courses instead of number of courses minus 1. Right, so that is like a check that we need to do before we return the array. And in the end, if everything is okay, you actually return the resulting array. Awesome. So let's try compiling this and see if it's okay. All right, the first few test cases are okay. Everything else is okay as well. Awesome. So let's talk about the space and the time complexity. The time complexity of the entire solution is of n. We're going through all of the prereqs here, and then we are iterating through all of the courses once. So it is O of n, and O of n being like the number of prereqs that are given to us. And then the space is also O of n, since we are using data structures to store that data. Awesome. So that is how you solve the problem. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. If please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I would really, really appreciate that. It definitely keeps me motivated to make more videos. Thanks so much, and I'll see you folks in the next video. Peace.